How do you organize a city government to help it become a more sustainable community? The Sustainability Coordinator for the City of Oakland, California answers that question. This is Switzer Network News.
The biggest problems that we have as cities in terms of sustainability performance, the biggest opportunities that might be out there they're not issues where it's any one person's job to work on them. Local governments, like any other major institution, everybody's got a role. This person has a job and that person has a job, and we measure everybody's performance within the institution. And so this person is measured on how many of widget X they produce, and this person is measured on how many of this thing they get done. And now that we're starting to say, but how sustainable are we? And we're saying, how do we track that? We might say, well, how many bike lanes, how many miles of bike lanes do we have? If it wasn't either of their jobs to do that, and now we start reporting on the miles of bike lanes, now suddenly we have to identify, okay, who are those people that need to work on making bike lanes happen? Let's get them in a room, let's get them organized and collaborating on a schedule that they share, and let's report on this. And now it's actually slowly becomes part of each of their work plans. Whatever their contribution to this new goal is that we track, they now need to show that they're doing their part to make that possible. And so slowly our organizational behaviors and the way that we're organized within the institution is really shifting, so that we're trying to make progress in a faster way on all of these sustainability issues that are most important to us. Taking this more thematic view of how are we doing as a city enables you to say, look, here are 5 different people that we would need to help develop the solution to this problem. And one of them is in economic development downstairs, and one of them is upstairs and he does energy programs, and one of them is a finance person, has finance expertise, and one of them has legal expertise. And we need to get all these folks in a room to design the new program or the new policy that's really going to work to help us kind of get over that hump, to make a lot of energy retrofits happen in our buildings, or to help us implement a lot of new bike lanes in the community in the places where we need them most, whatever the challenge is. The other major value that you get is very much an educational value. So when you start to pull both internal local government staff into that process, it really gets them thinking about these issues. And they start looking for opportunities in their own jobs, in their own roles, to help make progress and go faster. And they start identifying, here's a new thing that we really maybe ought to do as a city that no one really was thinking about this before. And it also, by putting out a report to the community on how sustainable are we as a community, you have folks from all walks of life reading that information and themselves either making changes in their own lives or coming back to the city and saying, hey, I've got an idea for something that maybe the city could be doing a little bit differently. And so it's very much an empowering exercise, a motivating exercise, and ultimately the way we do these reports, we try to pick out some key performance indicators. So how do I answer on one piece of paper how sustainable is Oakland, California as a city? And ultimately, one way you can do that is to pick out a set of 10 or 12 key performance indicators that you could plot on one piece of paper that might tell that really big picture story. How sustainable are we, right? So what's the crime rate, and is it going up or is it going down? What's our recycling rate? Is it going up or down? Is our streams polluted here? How are businesses doing? How is the average rate of employment in our city? There's some key metrics that don't tell you the whole story, but that tell you perhaps that are good indicators of the most important pieces of that story of how are we doing. Oakland has been ranked as one of the 10 greenest cities in the U.S. Each time someone has done a survey of the largest cities in the U.S. where they've kind of explored these rankings. Over the last 5 or 6 years, we've been ranked a top 10 green city several times, and every time. So there's so much happening here in Oakland on the green front and the sustainability front. It's not all just in San Francisco or Portland or Chicago or the other cities that folks tend to associate with green. And that's, in my position, it's really important to tell that story, because reinforcing all the progress that we're making and promoting the progress that we're making is one of the most powerful tools that we have to build that momentum and help us make that next level of progress that we're trying to make.
For more information about the work of Switzer Fellow Garrett Fitzgerald, please visit this website. This is Switzer Network News.